Strippers are good people too. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters, our guests. You probably never thought you would hear that in a Toastmasters meeting. But I didn't think I'd hear that for the last words that my father said to my brother and I. My dad ended up with cancer and we went to visit him. I'm going to get back to that in a little bit. See, as I grew up, my relationship with my father was kind of strained. My father said a lot of things in his life, and a lot of the things I remembered were negative. I remember there's times where my dad would be sitting at the couch here, in a remote, and be over there. We'll be in another room, and he'll start screaming for us to go get that. Give me that, please. No, he didn't say please, though. He just said, give me that. And we'd get angry. As we got a little older, we started arguing with him. I told him that I'm not a slave of yours. One of the things that I remember to this day, he said, son, slave, same thing. That would stick with me for most of my life. I still remember this now. That's why I'm saying it. Another thing he would do, he would just talk down to us. And then, I remember one time when I was little, I just felt inside that I want to be someone great one day. I was excited. It came up to my dad. Dad, I want to be someone great one day. And Dad looked at me and says, you're going to be like me. You're not going to make anything. It crushed me. Crushed me. But here's the thing is, years later, I realized my dad was hurting himself. See, the things that he would say hurt me so much, made me kind of miss on the things he didn't say. The things he did that was supportive, I missed a lot of that. But years later, I got it. See, my dad had a lot of talents. And he was had low self-esteem, and he tried to project that on me. I don't think he did it to hurt me, but I think he did it to try to protect me from letdown, because his father was hard on him. I remember one time, or not just one time, many times, when I cried, my dad tried to make me a man and says, real men don't cry. But as he got older, he started crying at movies. I go, Dad, real men don't cry, huh? No, real men do cry for the right reasons. Now, some of the things that I love today, like speaking, I got that from my father. Music, I got that from my father. My father was talented. He could write songs. He tried to get them sold out. He tried to get a singer to take his song. Never got it published out, never did anything. I write songs now. I'm not looking for anyone to sing them now. I was like, who am I going to get to sing my songs? I felt God says, you. I was like, I'm not a singer. My dad did sing. He was a better singer than I am. But he didn't sing his songs and put them out there. I have. I put them on YouTube. Another thing is the martial arts. My father and I used to watch on Channel 61. Some of you in this area remember it wasn't always selling things. It wasn't always a home shopping network. They played Saturday morning Kung Fu Theater. And we'd watch it every Saturday morning. See some of you are smiling, you know what I'm talking about. But we would watch that, and I always wanted to do the martial arts. Then as I started working, I got a chance to do it. And then now I own my own school. I've been doing the martial arts since 1997. Or not 97, I mean 92, but I had my black belt in 97. Ramsey, didn't you say you were born in 97? I've been a black belt since you were born. So that's how long it's been doing the martial arts. Now my father, he has supported me, and I didn't really see this, but through the years, he went to my tournaments with me. Even though we didn't get along living together, once my mom and dad split, and I didn't live with my father no longer, I got along better with them. I was like, wow, we get along when we see each other. And I even took him with me to Kentucky to do a tournament. We had a great time, no arguments. It was wonderful to spend that kind of time with my dad. Now as time goes by, I haven't seen my dad for a while. He moved to Toledo, but then my wife and I got married. We got married on Father's Day. So we got my dad a gift. It was a nice little watch. We presented it to him. We got a gift for my wife's father. We presented him the gift there in front of everybody. So we honored our fathers right there. But I said to my dad was always overweight. I said to him, Dad, you look good. You lost a lot of weight. What are you doing? He goes, I'm not doing anything. I realized he was doing cancer. A few years later, he never got checked. We got a phone call, my dad is in the hospital. Ann Arbor, Michigan. He was up there at the Veterans Hospital. We got a call that he doesn't have much to live. So we took we all went to go together to take a trip. It was my sister, my brother-in-law, myself, my wife, and then my brother. We wanted him to go with us, but that was a complication. Because here my brother, he ended up being in a rehab. It was forced by the city because he was arrested for drug use. He was only 17 years old. So we had to plead to bring him with us. So we brought him with us. We got it there. We had a short time. So when we got up to Ann Arbor, Michigan, we only had a little bit of time with my father. But here's the cool thing is, that was a great time that we had with him. So we brought cards. We played cards with my dad. I brought pictures. He'd never seen my karate studio. So I brought pictures of the studio. The head of our system was Al Tracy. My dad knew about him. And then I brought pictures of him at my studio. And my dad was so proud. He just looked. He had that look of pride. With tears in his eyes, he looked at me and says, I'm proud of you. That was the first time he ever said that to me that I remember. I'm sure he said it at least once or twice before. But now I grew past all this, all that pain, and I could enjoy my father for who he really was. And then as we were about to leave, everyone's all leaving, my brother and I, well first before we did that, my dad goes, that watch that I gave him, and a ring he had. He goes to me and goes, Roger, I want you to have this. It was the watch. He goes, wait, no. Josh, I want you to have this. The watch. I'm like, well, that's my watch. Then he goes to the ring. He says, I want you to have this. So, mind you, my dad was on morphine, so he was a little confused. So then as we were about to leave, my dad said to my brother and I, strippers are good people too. We just looked at him like, okay, Dad. We don't know if that was some kind of deep wisdom my father had, or was it the morphine speaking? But that was some of the wisest words he probably said. Because here's the thing is, everybody could be a good person, they just make bad choices. See, now my father made a lot of bad choices in his life, but he was deep down inside a good person, and now I see that because I put the pain past me. And I can see the good person in my father. And the moral I got out of that is, don't judge people. Love them right where they are. And you will see the greatness that could be in them. See, and the greatness I didn't know I had, and my dad didn't see it, was what he installed in me. It's coming out now as I speak. Postmaster.